Yeah. So all plugins for Cordova are kept in CouchDB using this architecture. It means that Viorel got it right. Yeah. At least at that moment, he had a good idea. In 2012, we gathered a team. So I know Theo for a long time. I think also most of you know Theo from the Ministry of ITNC, 2008. And with one cool guy called Alex. That's the cool guy. Yeah. He was 26, 25, 26. And we had to develop a project for an agency, a governmental agency in Romania that is managing subsidies and European funds for farmers. So that's Agenția pentru plăți și intervenție în agricultură. And the application was called BD 2012. Who can guess what BD means? This is cool. BD means bovină defavorizată. So yeah, that's cool. If you do not learn in school programming, you will end up programming for cattle. And that was the scope of this project, managing the whole life cycle for the files and for subsidies request. And it was a great experiment, so that's our first application, real life application with CouchDB. It's live.
And how did you choose CouchDB instead of MongoDB, SQL Server, other databases?
So before 2012, it was another application dealing with BD 2011 and 10, and it was written in JWT and with Postgres.
Postgres.
Yeah, Postgres. So actually, we had the code, and it was Theo that decided to try CouchDB, and also Viorel was pretty curious to see how it works in a real situation. And also we changed from Java to Go. Go, it's a language developed by Google. Yeah, it's Golang. They decided that Python is not good enough, so they invented a new language 3 years ago, 4 years ago, called Go. Yeah. It's Golang.org. You'll find it. So that was our first experiment. I think it was in May 2012, something like that. Then we worked on this project, and Alex did for his master final project an application with PHP, CouchDB, and something else. I don't remember back then.
Yes,
yeah. So okay. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see how it goes, the registration. How we are making the first steps.
Okay. Facem un test? Sau? Okay. So that was our first experiment. So what happened meanwhile is that we choose the same CouchDB with PHP in order to produce that application. The purpose of that application was to handle scanned signature. What you get today from the bank, you get a statement and you have a scanned signature on the document, on the PDF file or on mail. So that was back then in 2012. Actually, he developed this application in order to get rid of all signatures that he had to gather when finishing his studies. We have 20 signatures to get in Polytechnica from all libraries and everybody, and this is by mail. This application, it's working since then at a company, and they tweak it. They are doing a lot of things with it, not only signature. Then we discovered that we need a tool, an internal tool, design editor. This is to edit design documents and we produce design editor. This is also available on GitHub, and sign in. It's also available on GitHub. BD 2012, maybe I'll show some examples, but the code is not available. Then, next year we continue with this cow stuff, and there is another project, OCD. OCD, of course, is linked with animals, and it's o vine și caprină de favorizat. Yeah? So we extended the stuff with sheep and goats. Also the team extended. We have a guy here called Radu. Actually, we have it here. This is Radu. So, hello Radu. Thank you for joining us. And a couple of students. So those are students from Polytechnic University. And one employee from the company where Theo and Viorel are working. Then they developed Rex transform. No? Okay, he tried it in Couch, but yeah. This is for dogs, Rex, the national farm register. It's a register that gathers all transactions involving animals. Yeah. Just to give you an idea, it's about 8 million records per year. So in our health system, we have less than this number of transactions. This system is working for 10 years right now. And what happened there, they switched from PostgreSQL to CouchDB, and it's a big system, 3,500 laptops.
6,000.
6,000, okay, 6,000. We don't care. No, we do care. But a big number of laptops that belong to doctors, to veterinarians. And they register the transactions, and all the couches on their laptops replicate, and then we put everything in this national registry. Also a document management system, Cantemir. Then all the stories came in one application called appia 2014. And then things took, let's say, a slight turn, and a lot of politics behind this, and we stopped. But we have the knowledge, the know-how, and what I developed, it's an appzip, and we will see this application at work. This is a deployment tool for CouchDB. So when you build the CouchDB application, you have to put it somehow in CouchDB, and this is one tool that helps you to deploy it. And for L'Oreal, it's called Sales Representative Manager. Then, today, what is happening today? Actually, this year, Viorel developed a platform for Bluetooth, actually Bluetooth low energy marketing, and that's called MyB, and we will change the name to be called Proxy. And it was a campaign from Carrefour called Smart Shopping. It was the application on the tablets in Carrefour. It was not something that we are really proud of, but it was a very good experiment. And we'll try to see what we got from there. We finished 2014 from Appia. Sales Representative Manager became commercial 2.0. It's a French company. They needed to call it in French.
Ubisoft is also a French company, so they know.
So that was Com 2.0, and also I built a tool for project management called microKanban. It's a real microKanban. So that's the story. The plans will continue with MyB. Yeah, we need to build a sync gateway for our system, and we'll move to IoT. Also, I want to put this on 2.0 on Bluemix with CloudAnt and continue with IoT. So this is a sort of history. It's not the history, but it's a sort of. Any questions till now?
You said that you manage to sync up various databases from the laptops to the main server.
Yep.
You are sending the whole database and then
No.
so just the new records.
The most powerful feature in CouchDB is the synchronization mechanism.
Okay.
So the big idea is that you keep track of document revisions and you sync only new documents, and also you have a conflict management mechanism inside, and either you can merge documents or you can keep two versions like on GitHub. Yeah? You have two branches of the documents.
Let's see.
Yeah, Smart Shopping was doing this type of synchronization. So we had all the advertising in one central server and distribute this on 400 tablets in Carrefour. Each tablet was assigned to a store, each 20 tablets assigned to a store, and we managed to synchronize, yeah, in a smart way the advertising, and also gathering data. We got about 10 gigabytes of data in 1 month was gathered in this way with synchronization mechanism. And the system here, National Farm Registry, RNE, Registrul Național al Exploatațiilor. It's working exactly in this way for about 1 year and a half. So we have 6,000 big databases, and we managed to put all of them together in a staging area, and then put data together, and then data is all not mixed up, but kept in Postgres.
Dar trecerea de la Postgres la PouchDB a fost problemă?
No problem. Actually, we did it first from from Postgres to Couch, and that's fine. And on the other hand, when we had to process for Smart Shopping to process the data, CouchDB is not an analytical engine. So we had to extract data from Couch and put it in Postgres in order to produce analytics. But this is programming. Finally, it's not there's no magic solution. But we put them together. So any other questions? That's fine. Thank you very much. Now, the easy way. The easy way means to have some knowledge of JavaScript, and I think this is normal. It's something that most of programmers can master pretty quickly. Then I found a platform, a framework called Webix that allows you to draw components on user interface. It has both web and mobile interfaces, and also has something that is very important, allows you to put your own data adapter, so you can build a CouchDB data adapter. Webix was built for classical web, we can call it like that, for PHP, Java, .NET, and so on. And recently I discovered another framework. It's called Framework-uri. Lack of inspiration, but it's very well coded. And this is for mobile, so it's almost natural look and feel for mobiles. Then for mobiles, in order to have a better control, because if you are using the web view with Webix, you are limited to the web view specifications, and this changes a lot from one version to another. So Cordova is much more stable with either Cordova or Phonegap, and in here there is another CouchDB compatible database for mobiles. It's called Couchbase Lite, and it has a plugin for Phonegap. So that's what you're gonna see, more or less. This is only a test, but you will see all these technologies. Are you familiar with JavaScript? Yeah. Anyone else? It's okay? Yeah. 2, 3, we go. Let's see the applications. First of all, appzip. What it does appzip? We started with I think it's called Couchup. Yeah, Couchup. So it's a tool in Python. It's a great tool, really good tool. We use it in order to deploy applications in CouchDB and also to edit design documents. and I got a little bit, let's say, in a hurry, and I developed this small tool that says what you can do is to use the old technology. It means like the jar stuff and APK. So you have your DB with the documents, and here you have files and so on. Yeah, a lot of imbricated files, and you put everything in a zip file. Yeah, your app.zip file. You upload this zip file in this application. You push a button, and here you are.
So here means that it's deployed or not?
Yeah, it's deployed. No, it's deployed in CouchDB.
The database.
Yeah, in the database. So actually what it does, it maps a file structure from your local directory, it packs it into a zip file, and this application knows how to unpack the zip and push it into CouchDB. Step by step. So that's appzip. Then you will see the design editor. Historically, it was the design editor, then appzip. So design editor was again done in a big hurry. We needed to develop a lot of let's say smart ways to get data from CouchDB, and those are called views. We're gonna see all this, yeah. Don't don't panic. And what CouchDB offers, it's a little bit too, let's say, not too low. It's elementary, it's basic, and we need a tool in order to get proficient. So we started this, Theo started with this project, and he gave it to me, and I developed it further. Now it's on GitHub. And this is a decent text editor that has a lot of features allowing you to communicate with CouchDB. Then it was this application, Sales Representative Manager. This is something that is used both on central server and on mobiles with offline mode, synchronization, and you'll have a lot of examples on how it works. And inside this project, in order to manage the project, I developed microKanban. So that's what you're gonna see. Let's start with the basics. Yeah. Let's see CouchDB. So I'll get in the other screen. And yeah, we have CouchDB. CouchDB installs directly on Linux, on Ubuntu. So just get sudo apt-get install CouchDB, and you get CouchDB on Ubuntu. On Macintosh, you have a distribution, so you download the archive, you mount the drive, just click install, and it's there. On Windows, you download an executable file, it will install everything. So it's straightforward. I will not show you this. You can do it at home. It's free and no problem. So what I got here is the server, and this is the interface. First of all, CouchDB is not only a database. It's actually a web server. The idea of a web server is great. Why? Because you can interact in the normal way with the web server. With the REST technology and the REST pattern, you have basic operations like get, put, post, delete, head, info, basic HTTP. Everything can be wrapped up with Ajax. So in the end, you can easily communicate with your database just knowing Ajax. Of course, you have to read the documentation. The documentation, it's packaged here, and you have the manual. Yeah. So everything you need is in here. Okay. Just to give you an example, this is the web services, and for the database, for example, you have the head. Yeah, it's the head command from HTTP, and this is what you request, and this is what you get. You have the get. Yeah, the get will get you information about give you information about the database. You have put in order to create a new database, and so on. So basically it's a REST database. Then you have a special URL here. This is the port by default 5984. It's the next port after Postgres. Just as a, I don't know if Damian Katz, the creator of CouchDB, intended to do that, but that's the next port free. And it's an underscore utils. It's a URL that allows you to serve pages from the local directory, from the local web repository of the database. CouchDB is written in Erlang or Erlang. I don't know exactly what the correct pronunciation is. And this is great. It was an excellent choice. Yeah, it's like wines. Excellent choice from Damian Katz. And just to tell you why it's an excellent choice, we had some issues in 2012 with our hardware. It was not, he was system administrator. Still is, yeah, we are still acting as a system administrator. And we have a hardware failure, and the database was computing something, some computations involving money. So what happened is that it stopped, and when we fixed and put again online the database, it just resumed from that point the computation. And this is great. When you write software, the biggest nightmare is data corruption. So of course I was prepared for that. I said, okay, I already lived that scenario, and it didn't happen. So this is a miracle. If you want to start a religion, you may start with CouchDB. Yeah? No, it's a joke. So what you'll see here in this interface is the list of databases, and you have some tools, but the most used interface is this one. By default, you have the replicator database, and this is a system database that allows you to replicate, to copy one database from one server to another, and the user's database where you keep credentials. By default, everybody is admin. So I didn't fix that. It's on my local computer, that's fine. I'm happy with it. In production, fix that. And here you have some examples. Let's create a database, just to see how it works. Creating a database, you have to respect the rules, and by default we have testing, yeah. And we create a database, and it's it. And that's all you have to do. A database is a bucket where you're gonna store your documents. Let's create a document. New document. By default, what you get here is an underscore ID field that is automatically generated by CouchDB. You may change that. You may put a name, and you're gonna see how it works. So let's save the document for the time being, and that's it. Here you are. It took us how long? 10 seconds with all my speech to generate a document. You don't need tables. There are no such thing as tables in a document-oriented database. Starting from this point, you have everything, the whole history of this document in your database. And this is good news, because auditing an SQL database is the worst nightmare of a programmer. Everything is updated in place. So you have no idea what happened 10 days ago, or 20 days ago, or 1 year ago. In CouchDB, starting from this moment, you will have the version. You will keep the version. You have to instruct also your sysadmin not to compact the database. And he knows very well why bad things may happen. So this is good news. It means you will never be able to lose documents in CouchDB unless you do something that is catastrophic. You burn out your infrastructure, set fire to the server. The other advantage is that you are not happy with this one, because you want to put some data in your documents. And you can put whatever you want. Let's put some interesting data. And save the document. And we are version 2. Let's see the previous version. that's auditing. You see the whole history, this building, and this is my document. It's pure JSON. So, yeah, field value, field value, field value. You have underscore ID and underscore revision that are mandatory. And the next step, just put what should I put here? Likes. Okay. Another field, and so on. So from structural point of view, to be tough, you don't care whatever you want to store in your database. Why? Because you have all versions, you will be always capable to reconstruct the history, and you are not bound to a structure.
Yes, and just a small question that occurs every time I heard that this is an advantage.
Yes.
So you have something like a class in C# in Python, doesn't matter. And in this class you put ID ref that are constantly, and you put likes and name. And you try to read the first version. Does it give you an error because it does not exist?
No.
Because in the first version you do not have likes and name.
Either you use views or you can do introspection. What you get on your server, if you put CouchDB server application and then client on web, you get first on your server a JSON. And using introspection, you may search for that field. Is it defined or not? If it is not defined, that's it.
But
no problem.
Let's say that I forgot that I look at this version, and I put a class that has likes and name, right? And I forgot that in the first version I do not have a name and the likes. And I try to read that.
Yeah, you may read it. You will get a JSON. So this is the
so
good
so
news.
is the programmer who will read. Okay,
Actually, now you as a programmer, you have full power. It's up to you to
do errors.
To manage the data. And that's why you do not care if it exists or not, if somebody forgot to put it or not. Of course, you can count that, you can report that, you can put a message on the screen and so on. But the idea is that you will not be blocked by this issue. No more. It's not like in SQL. I programmed, let's say, a couple of years. I don't want to seem that I have done everything, but I wrote a lot of code in SQL. And my worst nightmare was when the client came and said, now this field must be on 2,100 characters. I said, oh my God, everything will be ruined. And I worked for 3 hours to move the data. In this case, for example, maybe I like quite a lot of things, yeah? And I'm gonna put an array here. So I have CouchDB and what else? Webix, yeah?
What's the limit for
the limit for?
Yeah, and if you do not, okay, let me talk about the limit.
Of the field, put the new data.
There is no limitation here. It must be a JSON object.
So if there's a JSON object, you have to put like 10 giga of the JSON object, it works.
Okay, let's be reasonable.
Let's be reasonable.
It's not a good practice.
Yeah, it's not a good practice. This is about attachments. So that's why we went to Couchbase Lite, because you can also attach. When you put JSON data, actually, the main advantage here is the flexibility. So, for example, if in the first instance I put a text field here, and then I say, no, let the user have multiple choices, a multiple select list. So no problem. On the same field, I can put this without changing anything in my database, just another document. And this is, from my point of view, doing this in an SQL database, it's a nightmare. Data will not reconciliate, everything is broken, you have to write a lot of things behind them.
Here also, because if you move from a string to an array, you have to modify the application too. If you do not modify the application, you will be in the same nightmare. So
not quite.
it's quite the same.
Not
Because
quite.
when you read this JSON, if you read as a string or read as an array, there are two different things.
If you use JavaScript, that's why JavaScript it's a good programming language. It's easier.
What the source for this?
The source
It is a version.
for this version. It has.
And the SQL server will have.
We'll have some.
No.
I know. Postgres started 1 year and a half ago to put JSON inside in 9.4 or 9.3, and that's how we managed to import from CouchDB to Postgres.
Okay.
Because it's JSON friendly.
And the SQL Server 2016 will have also JSON functionalities.
Good news! Everybody likes JSON. So just try to be ahead. Yeah, use this technology.
So
Yeah.
I have a question. If one field would be the representation of a date type field or a date, how do you decide the type of the field? So
In JavaScript, you don't have this type.
obviously.
So it depends on you. Either you put your own format and you stick with that format, or you use standard format, yeah, ISO format to be sure that it's ISO, or you use the timestamp. Maybe I should show you.
Yeah, you might use the timestamp. But once you're in the data, how can you decide on the type of the field? Is it possible, or everything
There
is
is no
same?
type. There is no type. So
Yeah, everything is
from the beginning, you have to code it. It means because there is no such thing as a type. You may have some, let's say, inferred types, like type of this object, it's array, it's string, it's a number, but for a date you cannot get a date. So you have to put your own convention in there and stick to it. If you change the convention, just change the code where you are using this date logic.
What is the mechanism for retrieving some filtered data?
Good question.
Something like I want all the persons that likes PouchDB.
So this is the basic document. 90% of the time you will deal with this type of documents. There is another type of document. Let's save this one and go into the database. Okay, we have one document, and here you have view. So you have design documents and temporary view. A view, it's a special type, actually a design document, it's a special type of document that starts with _design / name of the document. So the ID is given by the database and it should be like that, _design / unique name. And here you have two magic functions. I hope you are familiar with this concept, map reduce. This is from Hadoop and some other, yeah. So what is happening is that the data is stored in a binary tree in the database. This is the backbone of CouchDB. And with a view, you may build your own view, your own binary tree based on attributes. By default, the language that allows you to build map functions, to write map functions, it's JavaScript. It's a little bit slow because it's outside of CouchDB. Also, you may use CoffeeScript. It's just a blend, yeah, a flavor of JavaScript. And Erlang. This is powerful because it's the view, the map function, it's run inside CouchDB. It's not an external process. And you can control that. So what is happening right now, let's run this default view. When you run it, you have a function, a map function that will take a document. It takes normal documents. It means documents that have an ID or a name, and they do not start with _local. So it's not a local document. And also the design document. So with this map function, we got, in this case, our only document that's in the database. Then we apply the logic. to the fields, and here we may search if type of doc.name is undefined, then I will not put that in my results, yeah? Or type of doc.likes, it's not an array. I don't like to have in my results the documents that have only one option for likes. Yeah, I want a list of things that that person likes, and so on. So here it's plain JavaScript. Let's write a little bit of JavaScript, and I'm going to show you then what we got. So if let's say type of find, then emit, it's a built-in function that will send a JSON object of following format. It's ID, key, value. So this is the key. Now let's put in here something that we are sure that we have, dot underscore revision, and run this one. So what it does, this map function takes the only document in the database in this case, and I don't have surname, it's undefined, and I'm going to get for this document the revision. This is useful when modifying the document, updating it, and the home document. So this is my revision, this is the ID, and this is my document. And also you'll find this underscore revision in here. Maybe I don't want the full document. I just want name and run it. Yeah. And that's how I model my data. This document, it works. I'm gonna save it, and you will notice here underscore design is mandatory. So for CouchDB to be informed that this is a special type of document, I'm gonna call it name. Yeah, and the view, it means where I'm gonna store this map function. I'm gonna call it testing and save. So now, if I'm gonna look in my database for all documents. I'm gonna find my document, design name, revision 1, and the big surprise is that this is a JSON. It's the same story. It's a JSON, plain JSON. Of course, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's still a JSON. So this is the ID, and this is clear where it comes from. We type it. This is my first division. The language is JavaScript. And my view was called testing, and it has a map function, and this is the body of my map function. So that's how I get my data.
So you get your data in the form of key value pairs.
Yes. If I'm having only a map, if I'm applying a reduce, it will be a reduced. We may get a scalar, a pair of keys and scalars, and we also may apply reduce. Let me show you the real application. Or no, where is that? It should be network something. System preferences. Let's see what's. Okay, that's okay. Connect. Wow, it worked. So, can you help me with an ID here? This one. Okay, that's fine. Ah, this is version 1.2. So, is this testing? So that's real stuff, and you're gonna see we have quite a lot of databases. This is Carrefour. Yeah, this is smart shopping, what we got from Carrefour. And if you remember the story, yeah, BD, and so on. So let's see what we did in this one. And this is the real stuff. Yeah, so this is how you end up writing views, filters, and so on. Because this is quite ugly when you go here for, let's say, for users, because I can revisions. No, it will take a while. It's still working. Thanks to our sysadmin. Yeah, that's it shouldn't work. So please don't shut it down. Yeah, we are. And what is happening right now, just to show you the thing. Oh, it will take quite a while. So here we have a process that is building the index. Yeah? This is the number of documents in our database, and this is the progress. So right now, it's applying that map reduce function on all documents, and it takes a while. It's from 2012, I think.
Yes,
Nobody accesses it.
CouchDB, if you don't access the views, the moment you access a view, it gets re-indexed. If you don't access it, for how long the data changes in it. So if one document changes, it should be no problem. If multiple document changes, then you get to waste. But if you update the document in the database, and then after the post, the whatever, you call the view, you should be pretty safe.
Okay, so this is the design editor. Yeah? Just to show you what is happening behind. And as you can see, it was a bad choice because it's 25.8 gigabytes of data in there. That was 2012. It was not our best choice. Yeah, we are still learning. If you remember the history, it's our first try. And this is Carrefour. And this is 1 month data. This is 1 year data, 9 month data. So in Carrefour, in 1 month, we managed this amount of data. Yeah. And this is for 1 year. Let's see the design documents the nice way. So this is our tool, design documents. And what you'll see here, if I remember well how to use it, yeah, it's the list of all design documents. And what I launched there, it was this revision. It's not such a big function. Yeah. So, but it will get this revision, yeah, for each document. Now let's show a filter, because you asked about filters. We have a lot of features in here. Filters. Tam. I think in here we have a filter. No views. List views, no filters. Was posible? No. Was the other one? So I have to. Aha, filters. Okay. So a filter, it's a little bit more complicated in the sense that you have the document that will be, so each document in the database will be used as an input, and also you may have your request. It's a standard request, yeah, with the key value. It's that question mark, key equals value, ampersand key equals value, and so on. Okay, so this is your request with the body. You may also submit a JSON as a request, and this is what you write as logic. Each time when you have a return true for a document, this document will be selected as passing the filter, as being okay for that filter. If the return is false, then that document will be rejected. And this applies to all documents. Now, this type of filtering, it's tedious. So, if you want to do it online, it's better to write in Erlang. Let me show you how to do it in Erlang. In Erlang we have it here. Yeah. So it has a map reduce, and this is Erlang. And this is Theo, because he's the only one writing so much code. It's the same logic, so you have the document here, the language is different, and you get, this is doc type, nume formular, and so on. Those are the values that you get, and then you start pattern matching. This is Erlang, this is the language, so no tricks, no, yeah. And this is a 3D view. So the idea was to use one of the inputs in order to filter the data. It's like a cube. And it was our first attempt to make like an analytics engine on CouchDB. It worked, but we didn't like it so much. And also it has a reduce, because this reduce will treat all key values emitted by the map function, and then it will give you either the sum or the length, if this is a reduce, the length of the array. And this is real CouchDB. It means that when you get serious, you don't, this is a glitch. So let's load it again. In here, let's go to design documents. Yeah. So what we try to do with this interface, to know the name of our design document, what it contains. It has views, lists, filters, and so on. The language it was written in. The revision, it's important to compare when you have three environments. So we had development on our laptops, then we have a testing, staging area, and then we have production. I don't know, 052, it's staging or production, I have no idea. So, yeah. This is history, anyhow. And then we have this map reduce. Yeah, it has map reduce. Also, we used Lucene, and let's see where the index is here. Here, yeah, that's one. So you will find this new document. Lucene is perfectly integrated with CouchDB. So if you want fancy indexing in the sense of a strong indexing engine, also the documents that are inside, like PDF, Word, Excel, whatever you like, use Lucene. CouchDB is just JSON oriented, just. So what this index does, takes each document and sends it to Lucene. Lucene will process this, yeah, as a map function, and will build an index. So then you can use request parameters to get your data from Lucene. And this is seamless. It means it's like a call to CouchDB, but CouchDB knows how to redirect this to Lucene and get back the result in exactly the same format, key value.
And if I want to use Elasticsearch instead of Lucene?
No problem. You have to do almost the same thing. So also Elasticsearch is integrated with CouchDB.
It's integrated from the start, so
no, you have to. No, it's not.
Building,
but it's okay. You have a lot of documentation on the internet, and they give you support. You just ask them. They are nice guys. Also from Lucene we got a lot of support, and it's open source. So if it's not the community, that's fine. So we had no issues with this integration. Actually, we have issues with the storage. But this is something that's from IBM. So yeah, maybe I went too fast. Yeah, from this one to that one. Is it clear till now? So we have JSON and JSON. If it is called _design, like this one, and the name, a unique name, it's treated differently. It's a view with map reduce. Map reduce, it's, let's say, classical, well known. Okay, it's already for quite 10 years, 7 years on the market. So yeah, I suppose it's easy to find documentation on map reduce. Also CouchDB offers.
So the view, This means that it's the same view that you have in relation database, in a relational database?
No, no way. Actually,
what does mean the view then?
Yeah, the view means that your binary tree that is behind the whole database, it's re-indexed using this function.
Okay,
So,
and if I add a new revision or a new document,
yeah,
the view are rebuilt.
not automatically. And that was the observation, because I launched a view that was not built for 3 years now.
And how
there
do
is
you
no-
manage that in real-time application?
yeah.
Because in real-time application you will have new records added to the database, and if you do not rebuild the view, you will have a downtime for the views.
Of course, yeah.
How do you manage it?
So there are two ways to do this. You may explicitly launch this call, rebuild index, and wait for the Ajax call to return you OK, and then you are sure that it's OK, or you partition the data. So what I did for sales representative manager was to split the data and to put it also offline. So everyone with his mobile phone was able to deal with his own data and then to synchronize with the server at the end of the day. Or if it is real time, write everything in Erlang. Real time means Erlang, but it's not guaranteed. Also, you need to partition the database in the sense that you have multiple databases, put document types, and so on. So it's not immediate. It depends also on the size of the database. You have 2,000 documents, it will be like a snap. You have 25 gigabytes of data, it takes a while. So yeah, this is also, you make compact, because each time you rebuild the index, you get a lot of old versions of the index. So when you want to clean up space on your disk, just compact the view and you will keep only the last version of the tree. Index building behind CouchDB, it's almost a scientific approach.
And I think that for a real-time application, you must know which index to rebuild up to front or change, and which index to rebuild on a timely manner and schedule.
There is another feature in CouchDB. You have a listener on changes. Let's see if we have it in here. No, this is just a proxy. Yeah. So this is 2012 version.
Okay.
So you have underscore on changes. Is it here? No. And this allows you here, this one. So this is a hook, and you can add your handler here, an extra handler in Erlang that will update certain views or trigger updates on indexes. So it is possible. It's up to you if the application requires that. Okay, and it's flexible. And this is the config file.
But this applies to all database or all the server.
The hook applies to the whole server. So underscore changes, it's for the database and also the changes request. But you can write your own handler, and you can apply it especially to a view in a certain database. It depends on your approach. So yeah, you can customize it. It's sky's the limit. Of course, you have to write it in Erlang. That's the drawback.
Not in JavaScript.
No, not in JavaScript, because
Sorry.
it's an excellent choice. So I'm not mastering Erlang. I hate it at the beginning, but then when I saw that it's a real performance, the performance of Erlang is that you relax. So I never worried about the data, never. Also, I have a good sysadmin, so that's the second part.
I think
Yeah.
the first one.
But I never worried that the data may get corrupted or I'm going to get garbage in the database. And that's relaxing because I can focus on programming and putting the logic in there. I know what I'm writing in the database.
And another more important thing about it, because you get the data out of it through HTTP, you can have like dozens of CouchDBs. You can have 20-25 CouchDBs acting like one big database, one big couch. Actually,
You must have some application.
you can put whatever reverse proxy you want. You can write your own Cloud actually big couch. Cloud
Actually, they took Big Couch and now it's called Cloud.
Cloud. Okay, so there is a special version that already does this. It's called. It was called Big Couch. Now it's called Cloud. But the principle is the same. If you have a proxy up front written in whatever language you want, doing whatever you want, you no longer worry about one database, one server indexing whatever data, because you have another 5 servers with available resources.
The idea is that the scalability is not an issue as long as you do not go exponential. Couchbase does the same thing, so they have a sync gateway in front of CouchDB farm, and then they split the data, they partition the data in channels. And
You can actually, you can even go in your proxies to say if my request is put, use only these 5 servers. So you know that you have 5 servers with write access, and the other one is only read access.
And what is consistency? For example, you have put and you make a new record with, I do not know, some, what you say, BD, what is BD? Bovine dispărute sau ceva.
bovine de favorizare.
So you put a new BD document and in one server, and then you read from the other servers, but your record is not there.
You don't read because they replicate. This is the replicator. That's why I said this.
So this replicator replicates the database that is put to others.
It can be continuous or not continuous, whatever you want.
Just to be clear about it, CouchDB has eventual consistency. So from CAP, theorem, eventual consistency. And this is, let's say, the weak part. But today, if you think about mobile phones that are not connected always online, you must deal with that. That's real life. If
you make an accounting application, you do not know one eventual consistency.
No.
So,
Cantemir is one
yeah, I know.
of
For
these
example, it's
applications.
okay, it's your eventual consistency.
Yeah, it's eventual consistency. So the CAP is eventual consistency.
Yeah, okay.
It's not full,
That
but
depends
it's
on the
guaranteed.
kind of the application that you
Yes,
want.
yes. Always you have to think about the architecture. It's flexible. So you have this continuous replication that allows you. It's a built-in mechanism that allows you to keep this synchronization as long as you have a connection with the other databases. And it doesn't matter if it is on the same network, on the other end of the world, and it does this. So let's get back to
Another question. I see, go to the application, please. I see that in the application you put a remote database and you put an HTTP, right? So all the replication is done via JSON or something like this,
Yes.
Via HTTP.
Yes.
And if you have binary documents,
you send them as attachments.
And
via
let's check.
HTTP.
Yes.
Yeah. So either as binary, but it's base 64 encoding. This is one issue that must be.
encoding.
Yeah,
Okay,
it must be
pretty
handled.
large.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. So this is one of the issues that we had with that application for L'Oreal. They are sending a lot of images, and the protocol doesn't handle that, and the network doesn't handle that. So we have to move to something else. And in my presentation, it was a sync couch. Yeah, as a project, and it deals with this issue.
Okay.
So yeah, as you can see, we are thinking about them, but we need more hands on to finish projects.
Nice.
So this is built in. This is the built-in mechanism. Also, here you can put filters. If you remember the filters, they will synchronize only the documents that match the filter. Also, you can put here document IDs. You want to get only a specific document. Also here you can create a database on the other end if it doesn't exist and so on. So you have a whole payload, you just search for replication in the documentation and you'll find everything in there.
And if we speak about replication between CouchDB, could export is something like built into a CSV file or something like
Yep.
that?
This is this. Yeah. So another type of function, let's say, in here, in designs, let's find here in the reports. So in reports, because that was one of the requests, lists and export CSV, and that's the whole code. So if you are familiar with JavaScript,
Yes, but I was thinking that it has already from the beginning something.
yeah, but come on, 23 lines of code is not, yeah.
Okay.
I can post it on GitHub so everyone can take it, and this is generic. Yeah, it's not a big issue. Just so what we discovered lately is that there is a framework in JavaScript, a framework that allows you to get JSON data, and this is native for CouchDB, and to wrap it up in Excel, in CSV, in whatever like, and also in PDF. It's PDF make.
If I may say something here, is that as a short view, if the JSON contains something like comma, it doesn't export well. So
Yes,
if your document contains comma, you do not.
It will be a little bit difficult. So I explicitly put commas in here, but yeah, this is something that you should check. But with JXL, it allows you to export it as JSON, and then you process it on the client side, and this is the beauty of it. You just put raw data, and then on the browser you put out CSV or.
Yeah, you provide by the fact that CouchDB you could take the data from JSON, from the HTTP, you put in the Ajax on the page, and you export in Excel.
That's just JavaScript. Yeah. So this is a generic function. It doesn't cover all the cases, but we manage with it, and that's fine. So it's not.
If your data doesn't contain comma, it's correct.
We try to avoid that. So yeah, other questions? This is something in it's a report in HTML, just to show you that you can also produce HTML, and I think you can produce, if I remember well, XML. So this is XML. Yeah. Just send XML, and then you put your XML in. You are processing the result of a view. So you have key value, key value, key value, and what you get here with row, get row, it's a key value. So this is the value part, this is the second item, no, the third item, the fourth item, it starts with 0, and so on, yeah? So that's how we export. We had all of this. At that time, PDF was not available, so we were using LaTeX. Don't use LaTeX to do that in this case, but that was 2012. So next step from here is to add some extra functionalities, and you will end up with something that is very nice in CouchDB, attachments. Just to give you an example what an attachment is. Upload attachment. Let's find the file, a decent one. Maybe my desktop. Yep. So okay. And upload it. So this is my underscore attachments attribute that it's written by CouchDB. I have a PPT file, and the content type, the revision at which this attachment was attached, and if I change only the content of the document here, let's change something here. I'm gonna add what? Java. And save the document. And if you the version is 7, but the position at which the attachment is kept is 6. So I do not overload with versioning. It's pretty smart, because you also may track when this attachment was loaded. And yeah, this is auditing. Basically, it's when they loaded that document, which date, and so on. So you have the length, and this is if it is inside the database or outside the database, like a stub or not. Now, because we can attach files, and this is a web server, the lazy programmer will think, I'm going to use this as an application server directly. For BD 2012, we use it in the classical way, database. In Go, we wrote the application server, and then client-side with proxy and so on. This is sysadmin stuff, so he knows better than me what was in between the Go and the client-side. So, a lot of complicated things for me. Yeah. So, the idea came directly. So, when we started to do this software, the design editor, we thought that a better way to approach writing code in CouchDB means views, lists, filters, and so on, is to put everything in one database. And this is in here. So this is design editor. And inside, to attach the files as attachments. So those are here. And as you can see, we have everything attached here. It's not so nice to see everything. And that was generated with Couch. At that time, we didn't have appzip. Of course, I can access it as a normal web page, so I have an index somewhere here. Index. Yeah, index HTML, and when I access this one, I'm going to get exactly this path. So I have server, port, database, the name of the document, and the name of the attachment. And that's my application. And this is great. So once you pack it up and put it in a database, it works. And what is beautiful is that you can test it on real case scenario. If you are using another environment like Go, or .NET or something else in front of your database, you are not testing everything. There are some libraries that may help you that are present on your environment or not, but this is everything packed in here. And in order to put this in production, to deploy it, just replicate the database. Yeah? If you remember the replication mechanism, you get this database and replicate it in production. No conflicts, no errors. From this point of view, I'm happy. So it worked like that. This.
I have had something similar in the 2000 with ISP.
Okay, great news. So at least we are.
It was a nightmare.
No nightmares.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm a happy programmer, so I stick to it. So the only thing that bothered us was that all this structure, it's a bit complicated to push, to load. The design editor, the main feature of the design editor was the fact that from a database we can edit in a nice text editor. Let's see, do we have something here? I think on analytics maybe. Yeah. So this is the analytics, and this is just basic stuff. But in BD we had a lot of, as you saw, a lot of design documents. The main idea was that I wanted to edit in a decent way, like a VI editor or whatever, a decent editor, my JavaScript code or Erlang or whatever I had there. So this is the design editor. It does a lot of things that Futon, this is Futon, does. The community adopted the editor. So this editor, you will also find it in there is a second editor, and this is Foxconn. It does almost the same thing as Qt. It also have some extra functionalities. And when you go in here in a database, for example, appzip, you will find this, and this is the same editor, Ace editor. Yeah, exactly the same. So actually, the community liked this idea, and they adopted it in a separate project.
And if you want to give this document to a designer and make modification from CSS to HTML and put classes and beautiful your design, he must understand CouchDB.
Not necessarily, no, because everything is just plain. Yeah, it's. Let me show you the code in here. So on GitHub, IQ Couch Design Editor. So in Design Editor, now it's packed like an appzip. What you get in the attachments, yeah, you get plain files. So you modify those files, then you pack them as a zip file, and using the other not so nice application, not so nice looking application, the appzip, you can push everything into, you may deploy it.
If I download this and put on my run the index.html, it shows the interface there.
If you say in your JavaScript that you define your couch database, if you don't define it, it won't work.
So this is the point. In order for a designer to make modification, it requires some CouchDB to manage.
No,
Prior to
not at all. So this is my appzip. Yeah, it has 10, 12 files, something like that.
okay.
So in order to modify the theme from here, Bootstrap, you
And
make
in order to see the modification in index.html,
you have to push it to the couch.
okay, so this I want to say, because the designer made modification, but he wants to see the final result. He does a modification blind and says, okay, this is one.
You can only run it, as you said, on your local hard drive.
But you must have the CouchDB.
You just write half of line of code when you say my CouchDB server is at 127 localhost whatever.
Okay, and then you pack and you deploy to the database in order to
Of course. So basically what you do in here, if you have an administrator password, yeah, it's not this one, I'm on local database, I'm just gonna search for, if I remember well, where my documents are. Okay, and here we are in proof of concept, and this is 2.0, and this is my zip file, yeah. So I have a lot of com underscore databases. If I'm looking in my local database, there's no com thing, yeah, and this is the content. There are 6 or 7 databases in here, a lot of files, and what I'm going to do is push. It seems that it's okay. Let's refresh this one, and ta-da! Magic happens. So yeah, I'm really proud of it because it saves me a lot of time. So what I wanted to do, because you are exactly right. In Design Editor, what is missing here, and this is a missing feature, sorry, it should be too many files here. So when I right click on Design, here let's take the Design Editor. So Design Documents, something is wrong in here. Actually, what I want to do here is just to select the CSS file, edit it in here, and push it back. Please join us. So, yeah, and you are perfectly right. In order to modify 2 lines in a CSS file or 10 lines, it's the easiest way to do it. Yeah, you just edit here, save it, it will be pushed in the database, and then you reload. But I do not have this feature. I'm sorry. I try to do a lot of things, and that's where we stop.
Just a question.
Yes.
Mandatory.
No,
to be
yes.
easier for all the.
I fully agree with you. Yeah, I fully agree. So what I'm doing right now, just to give you an example of development, this is a nice editor, so project, and this is my what I just loaded, yeah, com events and so on. So I edit in here, I build a zip, and then I'm uploading into Couch. It's tedious, but that's life. I cannot do all things in the same time. So this is a feature that I would like somebody to take the project and implement it. Yet to have this editor in design editor.
So I'm ready from tomorrow.
Yeah. So whoever wants to join, yeah, we are willing to get people on board. So appzip is just a collection of files. Let me show you also the code in appzip. File and find it. Documents. It should be designed here. So this is my appzip, and I have only one file, index.html. All the others are helpers. This is appzip to be self-deployed when I modify something in here. So let's try to make it like that. Just to explain you the anatomy of a CouchDB standard application. So HTML, classic, yeah. Here it starts CouchDB part. You have underscore utils. If you remember, it's a CouchDB built-in URL, and will serve you the JSON, SHA, base64, jQuery JS, and this is the wrapper for CouchDB, jQuery.couch.js. So this is the key point when you want to work with CouchDB from Ajax and jQuery. Then this is also for zip. So for example, this href says that the style sheet is in the same point as index.html inside the document. So this is choose whatever, yeah, to show you the to show you the interface. Where is my here? So CouchDB application manager and so on. This is the interface. I should make it bigger. Okay, it's okay right now. So this is the interface, and then I have a function that it's treated globally. This is for reading the zip file, and this is just examples from the archive, from zip. Yeah, it's file zip, I think. I'm gonna be clear on that. It's filesaver.js, and the other one it's this one, jszip.js and utils. So what I'm doing there, I'm reading the file, and I have a small convention how to store the files, process them.
Are you sure that you could read the file from the browser?
Yep.
In Internet Explorer?
I upload it. It says yes. I didn't test it, so.
So you upload it to the server?
No,
No, it's in your browser. It's in your browser.
HTML5.
It's
Because
right
usually
here.
Internet Explorer doesn't allow you to read the content of the file.
No.
Yes, I know.
Bad thing. So I'm
Well,
sorry, I didn't
yeah,
test
but-
it. I didn't test it on
But
Internet Explorer.
it doesn't work like this. If you do not send the file to the server, the Internet Explorer won't let you to read the contents of the file. So it works in Chrome maybe.
Yeah. Chrome,
But
Safari.
in Internet Explorer you could remove the if Internet Explorer something there and just say it doesn't support.
Okay, I'm sorry for that, but I didn't test it. So from that point of view, I just copied what they recommended for Internet Explorer. I didn't test it. So
Yeah, but
my
just be sure that Internet Explorer doesn't allow you.
okay, yeah, I did.
It's okay. Chrome is fine.
So yeah, these lines here, they do nothing actually. They don't help a lot. So what I'm doing here, I'm reading the zip file. I'm gonna parse the directory recursively. Then I'm gonna put the attachments. I have two types of attachments. They are plain text, yeah, like the JS files, and I may have also binary data like images and so on, fonts and some other things. Then I'm gonna build a document, and this document is of type _design and the name of the document. what I'm gonna parse in here, it's validate doc update, rewrites, list, and shows and updates, and those are fields. Yeah, filter. This is the filter function from a design document, and then you have full text. This is for Lucene, and this is a view. So that's how I'm gonna parse the file and put it as a view. My file initially looks like that. So let's see in here, events, a view. This is my file here. This is my file, yeah? And it's stored in a certain way, yeah? This is the database name, com_events. The design document, it's called events, sorry, yeah? Yeah? Design events. I have a view, yeah? And here I have, this is the name of the map function, and this is the map function. So what I'm doing in, again, wrong button. I'm on Safari, no, I'm here. Sorry. So this is my view, parsing the content of the zip file. And what I do at the end, I parse also the attachments, because I can put things like a minified JavaScript version and so on. And then this is the magic. So how to get a document from database, from CouchDB database. This is from jQuery CouchDB. Yeah, this is the name of the database, and this is a function that will get you all the documents. How to write a document? It's with callbacks. Yeah, how to write a document? This is the function. So this is my wrapper, the database, where to save the document. And this is the JSON document that I want to publish there. On success, I'm going to put a message, and if I have an error, I'm going to put an alert on the screen or log into the console. This is my button, push to Couch, and if I need to log in, yeah, this is my login part. The name, it's a JSON payload. The name and the password, those are from the fields. And if I can log in successfully, then I'm going to continue with the databases. And if I don't have that database in there, I'm going to create a database, and so on. So the logic is straightforward in the sense that you have one HTML page where you find the documentation. It took us 3 days to study this. I will not insist on this. But the whole appzip application is just one HTML page. It's not the best way of writing code, but we needed something quick that works, and we kept it. So
just a question.
Yes.
Here jQuery.
Yes.
And it's a jQuery CouchDB that you have a JavaScript file that you gather from the CouchDB site.
Yes.
Does have something like Angular?
Yeah, you can put Angular if you want.
No, does they have something like Angular?
No, it's not built in.
It's
So
not built in.
what you have from the Couch is this one.
Yeah.
So JSON, SHA, and also they have Couch.
But do they have Angular Couch?
Built-in, no.
So
Built-in,
other
no.
frameworks that could have Ajax, because there's Angular, Ember, there are 5 nodes that are competing now for the
Of course, you can
Ajax.
have whatever you like, because this is
No,
just
but
an example.
they are on their site or not? This is the
No,
question.
no, you have to put them separately.
Okay.
What they give you here is the boilerplate in order to connect to Couch.
For jQuery.
jQuery. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
jQuery, but they have something similar for Angular?
No, they are not interested in doing that.
She actually told you at the start that this is the lazy way to program things. CouchDB doesn't support that jQuery Couch. Actually, the documentation for it is very sparse. He just found it there and used it instead of rewriting stuff. So when you find oh, it works with the jQuery, why you use Angular or something like this? This is the lazy way, and it works for that application.
I'm good for the lazy way. I do prefer the lazy way. I do not want to reinvent the wheel and make my
No,
query.
no, it's okay, but actually that change